So I watched Creed 3, a movie about Adonis Creed who has a little tiff with an old friend of his who finally gets out of jail, and they have to fight in the most anime way possible. The movie that was said to be heavily inspired by anime, it definitely has some anime moments, but not as anime as I thought it would be. There's a sentence I'd never thought I'd say about a Creed movie. It definitely has some anime-inspired moments, like with Creed getting punched, his eyes widen, time slows down, gets punched in the stomach again, and sweat flies off his back, which I think is very heavily inspired by punches done by Hajime no Ippo, and how the two characters in the end fight have a almost imagined fighting kind of sequence where the crowd is gone, the arena is surrounded by smoke, and they're having a one-on-one fight with seemingly no one else around. A common trope that's in other anime series where they kind of imagine themselves having the fights. I think that this movie has some of the best fights in the series, especially that last fight. That final fight was fantastically choreographed and shot very well. It was very entertaining.
Keep him up, keep him up.
That you all you got, old man? Huh? Can't beat me heads up?
The movie gets by on the absence of Sylvester Stallone. They don't address him not being there at all. I think Creed mentions him like once, but they don't say why he's not there. So it's pretty funny how they don't even mention him not being there. And I find it hilarious how the Rocky movies and Creed movies talk about how the main character wants to retire, but they can't because these movies make a lot of money. Like, I remember pretty much from Rocky 2, Rocky was talking about retiring, and now with Creed, after winning a handful of fights, and since Creed winning the fight in the last movie, he's been wanting to retire. This movie is Michael B. Jordan's directorial debut. Not too bad for your first movie that you direct, but I think that this is the weakest in the Creed series so far. I'm not saying that it's bad, but I think it's probably the worst. I'm not saying that it's extremely that's bad, I'm just saying it's not the best film in the series, at least for me. A lot of character moments, particularly between Creed and his wife and his daughter. The moments in the previous movies were done a lot better and had a lot more emotional depth to them. These ones just kind of addresses things a little bit, like with Creed's daughter being deaf, but doesn't really go anywhere, doesn't really hit as hard. I can definitely see a spin-off happening in the future where it focuses on Adonis Creed's deaf daughter, so I can definitely see that happening in the next decade or so. There isn't really a satisfying climax to the movie, but I'm sure most of the women I've slept with can relate to that. So yeah, after the big fight between the two characters, they just kind of forgive each other and they're back to being friends again, and it feels very anticlimactic, but other than a few issues like that in the movie, it's a perfectly okay movie, and I didn't regret seeing it, so that's definitely something. But you don't always have to take my word for it. You can see the movie for yourself and come up with your own opinion. You can let me know of your opinions down in the comments below. As always, more videos to come, and thank you for listening to me ramble on about a movie for a few minutes. I do appreciate it. Have a good one.